Most founders think corporate governance is just paperwork.
But Vitaly Gonchar proves it is actually a deadly trap.
This is Business Unpacked. Let's survive.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking a week's worth of insights from Vitaly Gonchar. And I have to be honest right out of the gate here.
Go for it.
When I see phrases like corporate governance, my brain just wants to scroll right past. It sounds like the boring stuff, you know? The stuff you hire someone else to worry about.
That's the default for, I'd say, 99% of founders. We're all wired to build and sell. Governance just feels like hitting the brakes.
Yeah.
But what we're looking at today, based on Vitaly's posts, isn't about that. It's not about filling out forms for a regulator.
Right. It felt different this time. Less like eat your vegetables and more like, I don't know, check your parachute.
That is a perfect analogy. We're moving past what he calls the illusion of business. You know, the hustle, the verbal agreements, mixing personal and business cash.
Because it's faster.
Exactly. We're going to look at the physics of business. And his core message this week was really stark. Clarity equals value. Ambiguity. Well, ambiguity equals risk.
And he breaks this down through a few lenses: financial discipline, documentation, and compliance. But before we get into piercing the corporate veil, which sounds terrifying.
It is the thing that should keep founders up at night. Seriously.
We were asked to give a shout out to the product LFBOSS. And honestly, looking at the specs, it makes sense, especially with what we're about to talk about.
It really does. It ties right in. I mean, the problem they're solving is that most software just rents you a seat. You get a login and you're on your own.
Right. But they say LFBOSS builds you a machine.
Yeah, and it's all about killing chaos. They have this one flow idea that really stands out. Stripe to QuickBooks to LSBOSS. It streamlines everything.
So you're not juggling a million tabs trying to figure out where your money is.
And the model is really interesting given what we're about to discuss. There are no monthly fees, no lockouts. You actually make money first and then you pay from your profit.
That's pretty unusual for SaaS. It aligns the incentives.
It does. But here's the real game changer. Their line is, don't just get paid. If you use their tools, you automatically get 50% of the revenue shared back to you.
So you turn your own operations into an income stream.
It's a clever model. So if you want to stop relying on random chats and start building an asset, go to the link in the description.
If you want to stop relying on random chats and memory, go to the link in the description. Okay, let's get back to Vitaly.
Let's start with the money. His post, Why Personal Money Kills Business Structure.
I feel like this is the original sin of startups. And I'll play devil's advocate because, look, I've done this. You're buying a software subscription. You grab your personal card for the points. You think, it's all my money anyway. What's the difference?
It feels like an optimization. It just feels efficient. But Vitaly calls this a structural defect. The term is commingling. And this is where the legal nightmare really begins.
Okay, so unpack that for us. Commingling. It sounds bad, but what does it actually mean?
It's simpler and honestly dumber than something like money laundering. It's laziness that destroys your legal protection.
Ow.
The whole point of an LLC or a corporation is limited liability. The business is a separate legal person. It has its own wallet, its own debts.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the second you start using the business account for, say, groceries or your personal card for business expenses, you are actively creating proof that the company is a fiction.
You're proving it's not actually a separate thing.
You're proving it's just you pretending to be a company. And that leads to this thing lawyers call piercing the corporate veil.
Okay, that's the term that always scares me. What does that actually look like?
Well, imagine your business gets sued. A deal goes bad. You think you're safe. Right? They can only touch the company's money.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
But their lawyer gets your bank statements. And they see Netflix. They see dog food. They see you paid for a client lunch with your personal Amex. That lawyer stands up and says, Your Honor, this isn't a company. It's a piggy bank.
Oh, wow.
And if the judge agrees, the veil is pierced. And now they're coming after your house, your car, everything.
All because I wanted some frequent flyer miles on a $5 coffee.
Precisely. You proved there was no boundary, so the law removed it for you. Vitaly makes a crucial point here. Transaction purity turns into capital. It's more important than saving a few bucks on bank tariffs.
And this isn't a local thing, right? This is
global. US, UK, EU, Canada.
Right.
All tier 1 markets. Investors see commingling and they don't think, oh, a bookkeeping error. They think evidence of absent management.
Ouch. That's harsh. It's not you made a mistake. It's you aren't even driving the car.
Exactly. So what do? I mean, a lot of people listening are probably getting a little nervous right now.
Yeah, for sure. He gave some lenses to fix it, right?
He did. First, the sell lens. Just stop accepting client payments to your personal accounts, period. Even if it's easier for them. Never do it.
That's tough when you're just starting and you need the cash.
It's tough, but if it hits your personal account, it's legally your income, not the business's revenue. You're blurring the lines from day one.
Got it. What's the buy lens?
Stop paying for business stuff from personal accounts. Or, if you absolutely have to, you file an expense report that same day. Create the paper trail. Show the company paying you back.
And the third one, the price lens. This one really stuck with me.
Yeah. Treat the company bank account like a stranger's wallet.
It's such a perfect mental image.
It really is. You just wouldn't reach into a stranger's wallet to buy yourself a coffee, even if you plan to pay them back. You need that exact same hesitation with your company's account.
Okay, so this flows right into the next big topic, which is something I am definitely guilty of. The verbal agreement.
Ah, yes. The cost of the absent paper trail.
The scenario is so common. You have a great call, you shake hands on a deal, it feels good, it's high trust. Sending a formal email feels like you're killing the vibe.
Because feelings aren't enforceable in court. Vitaly calls verbal agreements a critical defect. Why? Because they rely on human memory, which is, let's be honest, it's terrible and selective.
And we remember what we want to remember.
Exactly. And he makes this brilliant distinction between a craft and a business.
What's the difference there?
A craft rests on you, on your personality. If you do hit by a bus, the deal is gone because it was only in your head.
The classic bus factor.
Right. But a business rests on a transferable registry of decisions. If you're not there, someone else can open the file and see exactly what was agreed to.
Transferable, that's the key word.
Yes. If you have to be there to explain the deal, you're self-employed. You don't own a business.
So what's the fix? The artifact. Because you can't send a giant contract after every coffee meeting.
You don't need to. The artifact is just a decision log. And the rule is so simple. No email, no obligation.
I like that. No email, no obligation.
Every single call, every meeting, it has to be followed by a simple email. Hey, just to confirm our chat, we agreed on X, Y, and Z. Let me know if that looks right. That's it.
People worry that it signals distrust, though.
But it's the opposite. Vitaly has this great quote. A client pays not for hope and decency, but for a guaranteed result.
They aren't paying you to be a nice person. They're paying for the outcome.
And they're paying for clarity. 6 months from now, if there's a problem, you're not arguing over what you both remember. You have a document. It's about taking the invisible, the words you spoke, and making them visible.
So if it's not in an email, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Okay, let's go even deeper. We've talked about spending money and making deals. Let's talk about proving where that money came from. Sort of funds versus source of wealth.
This is the heavy one. This is where people get their bank accounts frozen.
I think most of us assume an invoice is enough proof.
Right.
I did the work, I sent the invoice, they paid, the money is legitimate. Why isn't that enough anymore?
Because modern compliance has moved way past that. An invoice just shows the source of funds. It shows the mechanics, that money moved from account A to account B.
Okay. The transaction itself.
Right. But it doesn't explain the source of wealth. It doesn't prove the legitimacy of the accumulation.
Explain that for me. What's the real difference?
Think of it this way. You want to buy a house with $1 million in cash. The bank doesn't just care that you have the cash now. That's the source of funds. They want to know how you got that $1 million over the last decade. Was it salary? Did you sell a company? That's the source of wealth. They want the whole story.
They want the backstory.
They demand an unbroken chain. An invoice is just the last page of the book. Regulators want to read the whole thing.
And if you can't provide, if the records are spotty from like 5 years ago?
The consequence is forced account closures, frozen funds. A founder wakes up, tries to pay payroll, and their account is just locked.
Yeah.
All because a big payment came in and they couldn't produce the full history.
That's a true nightmare scenario. Your business just stops.
It's lethal. So the solution Vitaly talks about is creating a proof of funds file.
Which is a Dropbox folder, a binder.
Essentially, yes, it's a structured dossier. It's the history book of how you created value. It's not just the invoice. It's the contract, the email negotiations, the bank statement showing the client paid. You have to be able to tell the story of that dollar from its birth.
Where history breaks, risk is presumed. That was his line.
That's the one. If there's a gap you can't explain, the bank just assumes the worst.
It's interesting how all this connects. If you commingle funds from the first segment, you break the chain. If you rely on verbal deals from the second, you have no documents for the third.
It's a single ecosystem. You're either building a system that proves its own legitimacy or you're not.
Okay, let's shift gears for the last segment. It feels more philosophical. The death of the deadline.
Yeah, deadlines are no longer my boss. It's a mindset shift he posted about.
And we can all relate to that. The constant firefighting, the panic, the hero mode where you pull an all-nighter to get something done.
And his point is, if you're always fighting fires, your system is broken. A deadline shouldn't be a crisis. It should just be a stage on a map.
He mentioned Vigo Online Group helped build the system that makes that possible for him.
Right? And the methodology is simple. Goal leads to stage, which leads to result. No more panic.
It's hard to get out of that mindset, though. Founders get addicted to the adrenaline of saving the day.
We do, but you can't scale adrenaline. And the payoff he mentions is predictability. He calls it the ultimate luxury.
I love that. Luxury isn't a fancy car. It's knowing what's going to happen next week because your system is solid.
And knowing a deadline won't break you. It's just a marker on a road you're already on. It's the peace that comes from having a real structure.
So let's try to pull this all together. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
We've got the commingling trap, the decision log, the proof of funds file, and this roadmap mindset.
The big picture, the Vitaly Gonchar doctrine, is that structure isn't your enemy. It's not bureaucracy getting in the way of real work.
It feels like that sometimes.
I know. But he's arguing that the structure is the asset protection. The paperwork is the work. It's all about creating an entity that can exist without you holding it together with your bare hands.
It's about making the business actually real.
Independent. If
Yeah.
you're the only one who knows the deals, if you're the one swiping your personal card, you don't have a business. You just have a really stressful job.
That's a harsh but very necessary truth.
And that brings us to, I guess, a final thought for you to chew on.
Let's hear it.
Vitaly says to sell your business every day until you actually want to buy it. So I want you to take that literally for a second.
Okay.
Imagine you're a cold, calculating investor, and you have to decide whether to buy your own business based only on the paperwork and the bank records that exist right now.
Oh, wow.
You open the books, you see the mixed up accounts, you can't find the contracts. Would you make the deal?
That's a genuinely terrifying question.
Would you say, yes, this is a secure, valuable asset? Or would you look at that mess and just run for the hills?
I think a lot of us, if we're being honest, would run.
And that's the litmus test. Because if you wouldn't buy it based on the facts on the ground, why should anyone else?
Something to think about before you swipe that personal card for lunch. Thanks for diving deep with us.